Hello and welcome to Illuminations with Tiina and Fi. I'm Tiina.
I'm Fi. Hello, Tiina.
Hi. So we're continuing our series on happiness. And today we're going to look at ways to increase your happiness. Because in the last episode we talked about that happiness is pretty good for your health in preventing illness, for example. Not to mention that you just feel much better. But yeah, how can we increase happiness? And Fi, I'll give you the word.
Well, luckily here, I've got some answers. There's a whole international global movement called Action for Happiness, which has come from Richard Layard and Mark Williamson. They started up the movement, which I think is a good way of calling it. And they're in Sweden as well, of course, now. And they have come up with, and I'm going to show, they've got beautiful, it's very colourful, but they've got 10 keys to happier living.
Okay.
So we've got giving, relating, exercising, appreciating, trying out, direction, resilience, emotion, acceptance, and meaning. And basically they say that if you work through bringing these in, then you can actually take it forward. And what's brilliant is they teamed up with Psychology's magazine in England, and you can set up your own happiness club, which I set up in January.
Okay.
And each month, with the group of people you're with, you can focus on each of those keys. And you know what this is just reminding me about? The Happiness Project.
Yeah.
What's her name again? It's gone.
Gretchen Rubin.
Gretchen Rubin. Very similar. She broke down happiness for her, didn't she? Over 12 areas and then brought them in. This is the same idea. They also have happiness meetups, which are brilliant. And in Brighton, we've got the first happiness cafe in the UK, which is in one of our lovely places down in the town. And they meet there on a Saturday morning. But I've been to quite a few events with them. And I went to one recently, which is the documentary Happy, which is worth checking out for people. And that was really powerful the other evening. So if you actually start to look at all of this, basically what it boils down to is happiness is an action, as we agreed. So if you are active in caring for others and for yourself, caring, it actually enhances happiness, because it enhances your happiness as the giver, but it enhances the happiness of the other person as the receiver. So acts of caring can be really, really powerful, because what that leads into is connection, which is also, the connection seems to be a real key to happiness. And there's some amazing research now going on where in America, instead of doing, when people are coming off drug rehabilitation, quite, sort of a dependency, they're now, instead of putting them on placebo, they're actually bringing them together in communities, and it's having fantastic impact on them actually, being in recovery as opposed to staying dependent on substance. So that's kind of a key. So connection and, acts of caring, but also it's important that you do have care for yourself. And that's really part of the happiness, is those voices that do a lot of the judging, is to actually kind of let them go a bit and kind of like, that's the part of trying out. Because if you try out and explore things and bring new things into your life, there may well be voices going, ee. So it's just noticing those with curiosity and just letting them go, which, yeah. And how about you, Tiina? Thoughts on actions around bringing in happiness?
I think the starting point would be probably the question that we asked last time: what makes you happy? But I think these 10 keys, what are they called, keys?
Yeah.
Action from happiness, it can kind of give a person a sense of direction. Okay, where can I start to increase my happiness? Just like the Happiness Project with Gretchen Rubin. Because sometimes it can feel quite big. And I think, when you say, oh, there's 10 keys to happiness, and kind of go, whoa, you don't have to do all of them. But it's like, start somewhere on that. If you feel that, okay, I would like to increase happiness in my life for various reasons. So, and I did check out their website. I don't know much about them apart from that you've spoken about the Action of Happiness. And I think, their website is a great way to start, because you can just dip into it, and there's lots of good resources, videos, and other things in there.
They do. They also now do a course, which I'm just about to start to run. There's one in Brighton already. There's plenty of spaces for people, but people can look locally. They do a course, an 8-week course, which again is based around the 10 keys of positive psychology. All the people we love and know are in there, Brené Brown, etc. So, it's actually a really informed course. And also they're doing quite a lot of work in schools. The Dalai Lama is the patron, and I was very privileged to go up last year to their big conference, big celebration up in London, where he spoke. And of course, you used his quote to start us off last time, which I thought was fantastic. So actually, coming back to what makes you happy, I remember Marta from the Freedom Experience. She did this very early on when I first met her, and I forgot about it until recently. This is based on the Pareto Principle, which is the 80-20. So 20% of what you do generally brings you 80% of the results that you have. And it's a business model, but they're all applying it now in other ways, across, like how you are and how you want to be. So if you took happiness, you're right, what you could do is start to look at physiologically how do you know what happiness is? Because I think that's really important, because some people may even be experiencing happiness and not know, because they haven't linked into what happiness feels like. Especially after you said that the last time, that really threw me. It was like, oh my goodness, maybe some people maybe they don't know what happiness is because they don't recognize it. So maybe exploring, what happiness might feel like physiologically, and it'll all be very individual. And then start to record for you, brainstorm or whatever you like to call it, put together times when you feel that. And then the Pareto principle is that you would make sure that you're doing 20% of that in the day, those acts. And they can be very small acts. They don't have to be, kind of all consuming, little tiny acts of holding a door open, etc. And start to shift your day so that 20% of the day is actually doing things that bring you happiness. And then that can have quite a big, it's cause and effect, 80% kind of like emotional state change. So yeah.
And I say that when I moved into the street where I live now, I decided that every person I met on the street, I would say hello or good morning or something like that, which is something that you kind of don't do here. And I just wanted to see what happens. And, some mornings I didn't feel like saying that to people. But of course, saying that and seeing others' reaction, enhanced my feeling of, I don't know if it was happiness or if it was contentment or if it was actually joy, a deeper feeling. But of course, some people ignored me, but then some people, their faces just shown up, somebody is saying hello, and they said hello back. And, after a few weeks, it was a few people like, oh, how are you doing? Not just good morning anymore. And it's like kind of those little things, and it doesn't take much to say good morning,
Yeah, that's lovely.
So those tiny things that you can do, and it's the kind of the, I do it there that way, and then it comes back my way, and we both feel better, and then it's easier then to do other actions because you're already feeling a little bit more elevated than you were before, I think. So
that's very true. That's very true. And people might see happiness as a kind of mountain to climb, and actually it is about starting off really small. And that's why giving is the first one. I mean, in the club, we really noticed the difference. They ask you to do acts of giving every day. And, it was amazing the impact it had on us all after a month of doing that, of actually not just giving to strangers, but also we looked at people that we loved in our lives and how we might give more to them. And it was brilliant, it was genuinely. And actually what was really fascinating was that one of our members is just naturally always doing that. And bizarrely, he's probably one of the happiest people in our group. You know, and that really kind of made it sort of, he was like, oh, really? So he had to kind of just recognize what he was doing every day, because he just genuinely does lots of acts of kindness. And I think what's also important to go alongside that is there is also this, when you do a questionnaire around all this, there's one question we asked in the first episode, is that everybody's doing the best they can, or you have to, you know, people are out to get you. It's the opposite. If you have, it's shifting your belief that everybody's doing the best they can. So, for example, Tiina, when the people didn't smile back at you, you know, it's not about you personalising it. It's about you. Well, that's just where they are today.
Yeah, absolutely,
you know?
Absolutely. And for me, it was like, well, I said good morning. You know, maybe next time they will say good morning.
Yeah, lovely.
Listen, we're going to wrap up in just a few minutes, but I thought something that I really wanted to touch upon very quickly was that I think that there has been a misconception that being happy is like it's easy to be happy, and you know it's harder to be serious and moody, and that's something to strive for because then you're deep, you know. And certainly something that I think during my teenage years and 20s I prescribed to quite a lot, you know, like it was better to be serious, and you know, and it was just silly people who were happy all the time. And I think one of the things that really struck me in the Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin was that she talks about this nun, Therese, I think her name was, and she was always very kind and happy and giving, and you know, with a smile on her face, and everybody thought it was just easy for her to be that. And actually, when they then read her diary notes when she had passed away, it wasn't easy. It was hard work, but she made a choice. And I think it's really important to remember that sometimes it isn't easy. Sometimes, you know, you can feel, you know, rather miserable. So walking down the street and kind of feeling, oh, I really don't want to say hello to anybody today because I want to be moody and angry. But then to kind of open that door, you know, might be hard. But the rewards are so huge that it's worth it. But absolutely, it's not always easy to be happy.
No, and I agree. I think that's a fantastic point. And I think it goes back to, if you've grown up with or got familiar with or got yourself into habit, this is just habit. All of this is habit. If you've got into a habit, you know, a routine of waking up and being miserable, you know, or unhappy, then it does take work to change that. You know, it's creating new neural pathways and thinking around happiness. You're right. And sometimes, you know, I kind of think, I can't be bothered. But actually, once you make the effort and set your attention for how you want to be, then it's amazing what can happen. And that's what I love, is the outcome. You know, most of the time I've got memories of people being really responsive and smiley and connected and, you know, really lovely. So I think, you know, it is, you're right, it's habit, but it's about changing the habit, which is practice. And sometimes you just don't feel like it.
And, you know, anyway, we've come to the end of this episode. What question should we put out there to the community?
Well, last time we asked what makes you happy. I wonder whether this time we might ask, how can you increase your acts so that you do more acts of happiness, you know, to increase happiness. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So next time we'll have a guest on.
Yes.
Before we do our nuggets. So I will see you at the nuggets, because I think you're doing the guest this time around.
And we're going to look at, obviously, if anybody wants to comment or join in our conversation, then please do. And if you want to subscribe, that would be great. Become part of our community.
Fantastic.
And
thanks for remembering to do that, Fi.
I don't know how.
See ya.
Bye, Tiina.
Bye.